So, therefore, you love all sentient beings, understanding they have the same nature as me. And so, you have this incredible love and compassion, and you want, love means the wish for them to be happy, whereas compassion is the wish for them to be free from suffering. And now, you want to know what can I do to fulfill my wish? What can I do to fulfill this wish? I want all sentient beings to be happy. I personally want to do everything to take them to happiness. So now that's your thought. What could I do? Would it be best to become a bus driver, or to become a doctor, or a teacher, or, you know? And so, of course, all those are jobs. If you really have the wish to benefit all sentient beings, you can do so much. I mean, I'm saying a bus driver, it sounds ridiculous, but come on, the person takes you from A to B without you being having to suffer from the...
With a smile.
With a smile, exactly. But of course then a teacher, or of course a doctor, so incredibly meaningful. With one problem, because it's only meaningful in one lifetime. And you still haven't taught this person how to make sure they never get sick again. How to never experience suffering again. So what would be the best state that you could, of course you cannot take away their suffering, but show them how to do it. The best state would be a Buddha. So you come to that understanding. Let's assume we all understood Buddhahood is possible. Right now this is just theory. But there are a lot of, this is why for many years we meditate on this, we think about this, we get to know the nature of our own mind, and you know, like things like people sometimes just know things. Sometimes we just know things, and it's like what we call paranormal. It's only paranormal in relation to people who don't know. But it's actually normal in relation to someone like a Buddha. So these are, I think, for me, are very good examples. Like sometimes mothers or twins, right? Mothers sometimes know about their child. They wake up in the middle of the night, you know, wake up their partner, like, partner's already woken up because he's got the same, something is wrong with Idor, as an example, Moshe. Right? Something is wrong. I know Moshe is an old-fashioned name, but I like Moshe. So Moshe. Something is wrong with Moshe, you know? Parents sometimes just know, have that intuition, right? Okay. All right. So this is like, oftentimes, this is our mind has the ability to know, but we often don't trust our mind. So we also sometimes have these glimpses, we just know. And oftentimes, with our interaction with other people, we often know, we have a very good sense, we're not even aware of the knowledge of saying the right thing, clicking into the other person. So the fact we can actually communicate and often say a lot of helpful things, it shows a knowledge somehow of the other person. But it's limited, that knowledge. And so that glimpse that we all have, that ability to know things, which is actually pretty amazing, now there's still, because of our narrow-minded I, me, and mine. Actually, it's kind of like looking only I, me, and mine. So this ability of our mind to expand is narrowed down by the misperception of reality. And if we remove that, it makes sense. Like, first of all, it's the first step. And you notice that when you generate more love and compassion and get out of the self-centeredness, suddenly you notice things around you that previously we didn't notice. It's already like an opening of our heart, an opening of our wisdom, right? Actually, wisdom and compassion go very closely together. Like, the stronger the love of a mother, the better the brain of the child. The more the child's intelligence develops. So there's a very strong connection between compassion and wisdom. So the more our compassion, the stronger our compassion, the greater our wisdom. It just opens up things. We become more perspective for anything other than I, me, and mine. Right? So it's very fascinating how I, me, and mine, if the stronger is the stronger my misperception. If I'm very self-obsessed, oh, they're looking at me in a funny way. They don't like me. You know, when we have this very strong, suddenly we think everyone hates us, and we have this, but the more we give it up, the more our heart opens, and suddenly we see other people around us. We see other things for what they are. We can judge things better. So this is only on a small scale. But imagine you remove, your compassion grows stronger and stronger and stronger. And your wisdom grows stronger and stronger. And now you're able to remove, not only does your perspective widen, but you can actually start removing the misperception. The misperception of reality. And this is what an arhat does. Their wisdom, when their wisdom directly realizing emptiness, experiencing emptiness directly, when that arises, it starts removing those layers of obstructions. First, the afflictive obstructions, but this wisdom can go further. It can also remove the cognitive obstructions, but only if you wish to do so. So therefore, a bodhisattva, what happens is, a bodhisattva is someone who initially, before they were bodhisattvas, what happened was they first generated this incredible love and compassion for other sentient beings. And then they thought, what can I do? What can I actually do to fulfill my main wish, to take others to the state where they can actualize their fullest potential. And they come to understand, through learning about it, learning about their own mind, about the afflictions and so forth, becoming a Buddha, becoming omniscient, like knowing everything. Call you there. No, that's not omnipotent. Knowing everything. Call you there. Not call you that. Call you that means being able to do everything, right?
Call you there.
What means does it mean?
No.
Being able to...
Call יכול.
You יכול. לא כל יכול. כל יודע. מצחיק. I don't know. But the point is that a Buddha, of course, cannot take away any suffering. No one can do that. But they can know what is the best way. So therefore, a bodhisattva, motivated by this incredible love and compassion, and by their wisdom, knowing that state of Buddhahood is the best state, so then they generate the wish to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings. It's mainly their wish to benefit others. And that mind, what is that mind called? The wish to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings. What is that type of mind, that type of wish? What is that called? Bodhicitta. Very good. Bodhicitta, you already know. Bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is that mind that wishes to become enlightened, to become a Buddha, for the benefit of all sentient beings. And the person who has bodhicitta, that person is called a bodhisattva. That's a bodhisattva. So it starts off with a wish. It starts off with the wish to go there, but of course, it's not the wish to go there for one's own benefit. You never get there. But it's for the benefit of all sentient beings. I want to become a Buddha so I can fulfill. So they say sometimes bodhicitta is like wishing for a glass, while great compassion, the wish for all sentient beings to be free from suffering, is like wishing for water. You wish for water. That's your main wish. Your main aspiration is to wish you want water. And because that which gets you the water is the glass, you wish for a glass. If it were a cup, you would wish for a cup. You know, whatever holds, whatever gives you, enables you to drink the water, you wish for that. So it doesn't matter what it is. So likewise here, a bodhisattva, enlightenment is like wishing for the glass. If taking other sentient beings to enlightenment were to jump on one leg around the world, that's what they would wish for. I mean, it's a stupid example, like wishing on, I mean, how could that fulfill your wish? But the point is here that great compassion, you wish for all sentient beings to be happy. Like, you wish so much for them to have lasting, pure happiness, which they have the potential to attain. And so therefore, you wish for them, you wish to become enlightened, that's the second wish, and the moment you have that wish, you go there. Because that's the power of our mind. If you wish to reach something, that's the first step to get there. And then you have to generate the causes and conditions to take you there. But without the wish to go there, you can't even start off to go. So enlightenment is sometimes described as going somewhere. Of Of course, it's just a mental going. It's not you literally, but the analogy works really well. So first, you need to go there. And then you walk slowly towards that direction. So that is then the practice that a bodhisattva does. A bodhisattva now has to engage in what are called the 6 paramitas, the 6 perfections. So with the wish to become a Buddha, they engage in the practice of generosity, ethical conduct, and so forth. So all these practices, because of bodhicitta, because of their practice of bodhicitta, the wish to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings, because of that, all their actions become causes for enlightenment. They're all influenced by bodhicitta, and they become causes to become enlightenment. So they accumulate a lot of positive karma. Positive karma, what is an example of positive karma in everyday life?
Generosity.
No, sorry, an example is not the right word, an analogy. You're right, generosity is an example. I meant an analogy, like an everyday life kind of analogy that is similar to positive karma or merit. Positive karma that we need, pardon?
Similar or something that...
Something similar in everyday life that is similar. Huh? Yeah, health is good, but I'm thinking of something more mundane.
Politeness.
Money. Money. Money in the sense like if you have a lot of money, then you have a lot of options. I'm just taking a very mundane example. So if you have a lot of money, you can fulfill a lot of wishes. Don't think of Buddhism at all, like just worldly kind of idea. The more money you have, the more options you have. Merit is like that. The more merit you have, the more you're able to accomplish your wishes. What is merit? Like positive karma. Positive karma. So positive karma means leftovers, imprints, something left over from actions that are the result of helping others. Right? You have something karma, like a karmic imprint. So every time we benefit others out of the motivation to help them with a positive motivation, some positive energy is created, and that will also serve as a support. If you now want something positive, and it's usually happiness, then that helps you to reach that. It's kind of like described as money, if you like. So this merit is very important for a bodhisattva needs to accumulate a lot of merit, a lot of positive karma. A lot of positive karma to reach that state. So they engage in a lot of positive actions, helping others, in order to not have obstacles, but continue on to get closer and closer to Buddhahood. So that is the aspect of positive karma. But what they also need to do is remove the obstructions. They need to remove the obstructions. So they need both. They say method and wisdom. Method refers to everything other than wisdom. Any positive actions, of course influenced by wisdom, but love, compassion, so all those provide positive karma. Positive karma, to have enough of that positive potential to be able to move on. But what they also need is wisdom. Understanding of reality, understanding of how phenomena really exist on an ultimate level. Why? Because that wisdom is like a vacuum cleaner. That wisdom is like a vacuum cleaner. Because so far we've said, okay, we have to remove the misperceptions, right? Okay, that all makes sense. Remove anger, remove the misperceptions. But how? How? Do you kind of cut them out of your body? No. Do you take a vacuum cleaner and kind of go, no, of course, I mean, those are just silly examples. How can we actually, of course, patience, we can generate patience, but what does patience do? Patience removes anger. It removes, that is like, it reduces anger. Can it totally eliminate anger? No, it cannot. And the other problem is, when it reduces anger, it doesn't remove craving. When it reduces anger, it doesn't necessarily remove arrogance. So each of those antidotes, although they're very good and we need to apply them, they can only reduce their own specific afflictions And the point is they can only reduce them. They cannot totally eliminate them. So what is it? And this is totally logic. This is just totally logic. What is it that can totally eliminate all the afflictions?
Your heart. Opening your heart.
Well,
Compassion,
opening your
more
heart.
love, more-
Yeah, but no. Actually, what is the root of all our afflictions?
Misperception of reality.
Misperception of reality. Misperception of reality. Ignorance or misperception of reality. Okay. So misperception of reality. Now, let's just think logically. So this misperception of reality, it perceives something to be there that is not there, right? It just perceives something to be there that is not there. You're totally right with compassion and love. All that is true, but it only assists the wisdom. It only assists the wisdom. So think, very simple example. If you think there's a monster in a closet, you understand this example, right? There's like as children, we think there's a monster in the closet. Okay. We can generate love and compassion, or we can take a sleeping pill even, or read a story and all that. We can do all that to help the fear. But what is the most effective method to removing all our fear, anxiety, all our negative states of mind that arise out of our misperception of a monster in a closet?
Ghostbuster.
Open the closet.
Open the closet. I don't even know what that is. Ghostbuster. Isn't that a movie?
Ghostbuster?
It's like someone who... Oh, I don't know.
Smelling the ghost.
Right, but it basically means open the closet. Look. So that's wisdom. Check. Do phenomena really exist in that way? And if you find they don't exist, well, then you remove the misperception. And if you remove the misperception, you remove all the balagan that comes from that misperception, right? Everything that arises logically. So therefore, what a bodhisattva does, they generate a lot of love and compassion, and their love and compassion deepens their wisdom. Deepens their wisdom, deepens their understanding of reality. To such a degree that now the bodhisattva can generate a wisdom that directly experiences emptiness, directly. And that now, because of the strength of bodhicitta that strengthens this, the bodhisattva, it's like a vacuum cleaner now. A vacuum cleaner that takes the coarser levels of misperception. The coarser levels. First, the coarser types of misperception, coarser anger, easier to remove, removable kind of anger and so forth. And then the bodhisattva arises. For some time he is absorbed in that direct perception of emptiness, but he has to come out of it. He or she has to come out of it. And then it comes out of it and generates love, compassion. And again, when time is ripe, again, they again go in that meditative absorptions for a few hours, and again they remove some of those afflictive obscurations, afflictive ones. First, the outer mud has to be removed. So they remove subtler levels of anger. And again, they come out, and they go in again. So it's like they alternate between practicing love, compassion, accumulating a lot of merit, and then that assists their wisdom, and their wisdom is now stronger, and it eliminates more and more layers of the afflictive obstructions. And at some point, it's all gone. And now they're called arhats. Nirvana is reached. But that was not their end goal, so they don't stop there. They go on again. They want to now remove the stuff around. And since they have this strong motivation, now their love is even stronger. It has to become stronger and stronger and stronger. So their love for all sentient beings, the wish to become a Buddha for them is getting stronger and stronger. And that increases their wisdom, makes it even stronger. So if you think of a vacuum cleaner, like a vacuum cleaner on low power, that's the one that removes only, a few bits. And then it's stronger and stronger, so you go deeper and deeper within the carpet. It takes in more and more things. So initially it's just the superficial, coarser pieces that you can see. They're sucked in. But then if you put it on stronger power, you can go deeper in the carpet and it takes in. So wisdom is like that. Wisdom, when that wisdom becomes stronger, you can remove deeper levels of misperceptions in the mind. So you go deeper and deeper and deeper. and you take out the subtlest. And the last time you remove the subtlest, when you get out of the meditation, you're a Buddha. It's as easy as that.
All you need is Kirby. All you need is Kirby. That's very.
You just need to.
Kirby, it's a very strong one.
Yeah, you just need a good vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
I mean, pardon?
How simple, only vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, only a vacuum cleaner. Well, you need love and compassion, which is the electricity, and then the vacuum cleaner, which is wisdom. So just to use that example, so therefore, this is what a bodhisattva basically is. And these are all qualities we have. We have baby versions of those, right? We have the seeds of those. We have the seeds of wisdom. I mean, the fact we can discern, we can know things. All those are actually a type of wisdom. We think the word wisdom is too much. Oh my God, I don't call that wisdom. But that's just a blanket term. It's just a word that encompasses all these abilities to know. And we have compassion, we have love. We naturally, you know, like in the tsunami, 2004, how many people went out to help? Spontaneously. You didn't even know these guys in Taiwan, in Thailand, in Indonesia. You didn't know those guys. And, you know, you helped. Many of you helped. Or in other cases, you know, you hear there's trouble. You don't know this person well, but you naturally want to help. We all have this. And this is why it can be increased further. It can be increased further. So someone, a bodhisattva, is really someone who has understood of that potential, has understood that potential, has increased his love to such a degree that eventually it gave rise to their wish to become a Buddha. And eventually it's directed at all sentient beings. And then they actually started to work towards becoming a Buddha. So the only thing I have left to say is, what is the difference between someone who only attains nirvana and someone who becomes a Buddha? Now, in general, we say everyone has the potential to become a Buddha. Everyone, all of you have the potential. There's no difference between anyone. All of us have that potential, but temporarily we obstruct it. Well, you may already be Buddhas and you just pretend you're normal. I don't know. I'm the only one not. You're just helping me to accumulate merit. But the point is, the way you manifest as like ordinary guys. So the point is that, assuming that you have these obstructions, so we all have the same time also have this incredible Buddha nature. But as I said early on, there are two main irreversible goals in Buddhism: liberation and enlightenment. And you may feel from the beginning, liberation, that's realistic for me. I want to be liberated. I can't see myself working for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that's the place that you choose to go. But they say that when you go there, you will enter the practices to become a Buddha eventually. The only difference is, since you wanted to go there first, you enjoy that for some time. And then you go on to Buddhahood. So you first go this way, right? It's almost like when you try to climb up a hill. I give the example of climbing up a hill. Some person just wants to go halfway. That's like liberation. You remove something from the mind, but you've not reached the top level, like the highest level that you could reach with your mind. But you're satisfied with that. But they say that once you remove that level, you can't help it. Great love and compassion will arise, and you will eventually want to go to the top. But you will stay there for a while because you wanted to go there for a while. Whereas the bodhisattva is someone who wanted to go right up right away. So you don't stop there, you just go on. Right? You don't enjoy that for a while, stay with that experience, but you go on. So that's the difference. So it's a bit like, wait a little bit, wait a little bit, wait a little bit, go on. Right? That would be, an arhat would be like someone who reached that state. So that's called a Hinayana arhat. Someone who followed the practices specific to a person who wants to just go there. That's made exactly for that person. So not much talk of enlightenment, great compassion, great love. Not necessary. Too overwhelming possibly initially. Come on, give me a break. Well, compassion? No, that's too much initially. So maybe overwhelming. Fair enough, because everyone has a different predisposition, so you choose to go there first. And once you reach that state, they say that your mind will naturally, because now there's no more misperception, you will naturally then enter the Mahayana and very quickly become a Buddha. right? But you will stay in that state, will enjoy that state for a while. So that's the difference. Whereas the bodhisattva wishes to go all the way. They will reach the same level, but then continue on very speedily. So they say becoming Buddha is faster. If you become liberated first, that goes relatively quickly, but then it's harder to go further because you stay in that liberated state. You may stay, depending on the person. So that's the difference. That's all of Buddhism, in a nutshell. It seriously is, that's it. So that's the difference. So either you enter the Hinayana path, once you have the wish to become self-liberated, you enter that path, and you don't even have a word for that person. You don't call them Arhat Sattva or something, there is no real word. But then for a bodhisattva, when you enter the Mahayana path, that means you generate bodhicitta, that is the criterion. The moment you have bodhicitta, the spontaneous wish to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings, that's when you call the bodhisattva, that's when you enter. That's it. Does that help? I mean, was that clear
That's
enough?
great. I think I'll put it in the new exam. Yeah.
I'll make the questions then. Okay. Okay, so we have time. I'm pretty sure we have time for questions, right?
Sure.
So no, any question? Yes, please.
I have a question about the physical body.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Is a Buddha is released of? Is he not tired? Is he not? Because I understand maybe he's like he's enlightenment with himself. He knows himself. He knows his emotion. He's like everything is good, and but still he teached all day, and he didn't eat so much. And maybe he's a little bit tired, and maybe then he became a little bit irritated or something. איך אני אומר, מנותק מהדבר הזה, כאילו, is he not connected to the physical body at all? He's not affected by it? He's now 70 years old, he's now 80, he's now, is he connected, like it's something for my perception, it's more a heart to than the mind.
Very true. You very important question. Very difficult question. Which I thought I'm not going to mention it. No one will notice I didn't mention. But now that you caught me. This is a very good question about the body, right? So this is a little bit hard to believe what I'm going to tell you now. But I have to say something else first. Actually, we think usually, especially in this 21st century, which is quite materialistic, I mean, based on the modern science, of course, which is totally focused on the material, we think that our body creates our mind, right? We usually feel, because I have this body, I have this mind. Of course, there's something to it. When I have this particular body, then I have a particular human mind that manifests within it. But from a Buddhist point of view, actually the mind creates the body, which means in a previous life, and this is like, I don't know how far, but in a previous life, our mental actions, they were responsible now for the body we have taken, right? So it's actually mind over body. And thanks God for, no, not God, Buddha. Thanks Buddha. Thanks Buddha for modern science, you know, where now this idea takes root, that and this understanding that any thought we think has an effect on our body. So this is really important to understand, that any thought we think, now they've understood that when we have compassion, certain chemicals are released in the body that, I just read today, I did a little bit of research on that to be prepared, that if you generate compassion, and this is what a bodhisattva generates, certain chemicals are released in the body that are related to something called telomeres, which have to do with the genes, with the aging genes. So in fact, the more compassion you practice, the more likely you have a long and healthy life. Now, how can I support this with modern science? With these incredible nuns, there are some Christian nuns, a specific order of nuns, who practice a lot of compassion, who are very compassionate and very active in society, working with disadvantaged children and so forth. And scientists in the US, you can Google it. So some scientists were like fascinated by these nuns living up to a very high age and being very clear in their memory and so forth. So they met some of them. The youngest is 100 years old, you know, and they're like, you guys, how do you keep... And they're all active, very compassionate action, like working with others and so forth. And they asked, can we check your brains? Can you donate your brains to science? Usually the brain that is investigated is a brain of someone who manifests brain disease, and so, you know. But they wanted these crystal clear nuns who were very compassionate to check their brains. And when they had checked their brains, one particular one who lived until the age of 104, who was so bright, such good memory, so active, so amazing, her brain was totally destroyed by Alzheimer. She had the same symptoms as a person with full-blown Alzheimer, and they were like, how is this possible?
Wow.
So it shows, and so scientists were saying it must be their incredible activity, their compassion. So now they're looking in that direction. Of course, if you're not active like that, and you just kind of like, you know, watch TV and do your thing, you know, retired, not much activity, then your brain, of course, affects your mind. But in that case, they were so active, it was just so part of their activity, and, you know, just being compassionate, whatever their reasons behind it. So it had a huge effect on the mind. So therefore, it really shows how our mind can change the body to some degree, that although the brain is destroyed to such a degree, still the rest of the body was actively functioning. My other example is that of a boy who was born in England not a long time ago. His name is Noah Wells. He was born in Britain. There's a documentary about him. Just Google Extraordinary People, the boy without a brain. So he was born, he had a disease, a spinal problem, and fluid accumulated in his brain and destroyed his brain. He had only 2% left of a normal child. And he was born with only 2%. The doctors told him their parents to abort, but the parents didn't want that. And the child lived. And the child thrived. And it learned to speak. And it learned to do everything that any other child would do. And doctors couldn't explain it. How can you do it with only 2% of the brain? But it was just all the love the parents give their child and all these brain practices they gave. And then they did another MRI scan, and at the age of 3, they found 80% of his brain had grown.
Wow.
So his mind grew his brain. Now this is what the Buddha has said 2,600 years ago. Our mind is mainly responsible for our brain. Of course, if you have brain damage, then it may be too late. But if previously you trained your mind in the way like these nuns did, for example, then even though your brain may be destroyed, so it is mind over body. If that is true, now I'm going back to this question. I'm sorry for all that, but I had to... So our mind, basically, you live healthier, your telomeres are doing well, you may not add Alzheimer through this mental practice. But it goes further than that. A bodhisattva, once they die with this ordinary body, they take on a body that is already quite different. So their body actually changes. Their body they take on, so at some level, I'm not going to go into all the detailed levels, they're all clearly laid out. This level, and that level, and that level. It's too technical, it's not interesting for you. But at a certain level, you can take on more than one body. Now that's already mind-boggling. Oh my God, this body is enough to take care of having more than one. But you can take on more than one body. That's why...
With your consciousness?
Yes, with your consciousness. Now I don't know how that works. It's so mind-boggling. I mean, it's mind-boggling for a kindergarten student when they think of Albert Einstein. So, you know, for us, that we can only think having one body, right? It's really mind-boggling. But if you think about it, right now our mind is so narrow-minded, so we have one body. But if our mind expands, it becomes vaster, and you become more and more loving, and you can touch more and more people, well, maybe you can have, this one mind can control 2 bodies, right? It sounds, I know, it sounds totally, so it's really just theory, but if you think of the logic of our mind creating this body, and then being able to create more than that. So, but in answer to your question, forget about 2 bodies or however many, but that your mind can actually create a body that no longer gets tired, that no longer gets exhausted, that I think can make sense to us. So the quality of your body is a different one, because the mind, the quality of your mind determines the quality of your body. So this simple example I gave of the power of the mind, well, and there are people around us who have this. But the way their bodies are, they look like ordinary bodies. And the difficult thing is people don't walk around saying, I have a special body, I don't get tired. Why don't they do it? Very simple. They want to benefit us, and they can only benefit us if they pretend they're normal. It's basic psychology. When you talk to a child, you don't say, well, by the way, your genome, your telomeres, you may just be sure you study well in school, their DNA will change. I mean, you don't talk like that. We go to their level. We say, oh, now I'm doing the Tibetan thing. Quiet beseda? Moshe? Yafe, yafe. Right? We talk on a level that the child can relate to. Right? And then when they can relate to us, we can teach them. So the Buddhas are just like that. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are just like that. They pretend to be totally ordinary. Right? I mean, look at the Dalai Lama. If you've been around him a little bit and you receive some teachings, you realize, oh my God, he's nothing but ordinary. He's definitely not ordinary. I mean, just the fact that his bodyguards need to take shifts because he's so active and no one can hold up. This is the power of his love and compassion. He has so much energy that even at the age of 80, he has a schedule that people at the age of 18, they would collapse after a month. I mean, if you hear his bodyguards, what they tell you, it's like insane. How can a person do that? So, my point is, he's so extraordinary, and still he says, I'm just an ordinary person. You know, just like you guys. I get angry. And if he says, I don't think he gets angry, but okay. If he says he gets angry, I can relate to him, because I get angry all the time. Oh, there's someone I can relate to. So that's so beautiful. There are these extraordinary beings around us. I said, you could all be Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And you would be very good at masking your ordinariness, right? Because otherwise I couldn't relate to you. So this is an example. You have these incredible beings, they pretend they're tired, etc., but you just don't know. You just know in your own case.
Thank you.
It You're welcome. Sorry, that was a little bit extensive. But it was an important question, so I wanted to address it. Yeah. Anything more? No? More time to kill. Otherwise, I'll start asking you questions. So.
I have one.
Yes, please.
Talk about spreading your love,
Mm-hmm.
compassion,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and generating the wisdom that you achieved, and then going through your mind.
Okay.
And when you go through your mind, you find yourself doing that mostly by
Mm-hmm.
approaching the present in a certain way,
Mhm.
or re-examining your past events and your behavior
Mm-hmm.
and your reactions.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you talk about past events, so how do you avoid remorse and approach it in a peaceful manner?
Good question. I like that. The way you approach these questions is like, how does this actually really make sense practically? So that's a good way, even though it's like a high bodhisattva. But it's very good that you're trying to bring it to your own life and make it relevant. So how would a bodhisattva basically go about this? Like how to learn from their past, etc. That's your question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess love starts with yourself. I think bodhisattvas, they start, I mean, if you want to be patient and you want to be loving and affectionate and accepting, it has to start here. So basically they start with themselves. Not that the focus on themselves is selfish. No, it's very rational. So before they actually enter the bodhisattva path, so before they become bodhisattvas, they first look at their own mind. And for instance, making mistakes. You know what I think is really interesting? And I talked about this last year. I'm not sure I talked about it here. So I just remember in some groups I talked about it. How our afflictions are just extreme states of mind which have a non-extreme counterpart. Every affliction. Anger has a non-extreme counterpart, a good kind. Recognizing that which is negative is negative. right? Another person's actions. Oh, that's harmful. That's not good. That's not a good action. That's harmful. That's the normal. So anger just blows it up and we react very strongly. Now you're talking about remorse. Remorse can turn into an extreme. What is the extreme of remorse? Yes? Guilt. Guilt is like an extreme. It's totally exaggerated. So that's an exaggerated version of what's supposed to be there. So as ordinary beings, when we're under the control of misperceptions, when I make a mistake, I get angry with myself or I feel guilty. Those are all extreme reactions that shouldn't be there. So I make mistakes all the time. So like someone who will eventually become a bodhisattva, that person initially checks their own behavior and learns from his or her mistakes. Oh, I made a mistake. Generate remorse. Oh, I'm sorry for that. Okay, this was not okay. I recognize it as such. Oh, next time I'll do it differently. That's it. Move on. Okay? I think that's the logical, this is the approach. Am I really answering your question?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. In that direction. Okay, good. So, basically, with a very rational mind, like I said, it is method on one hand, you know, recognizing your afflictions, or in other words, generating love and compassion on one hand, but also increasing your wisdom by understanding, I'm just a human being, I have mistakes. And you see, this is also the thing, actually guilt, feeling guilty and feeling anger towards ourselves are signs of self-grasping. It doesn't seem that way, but it's actually thinking, first of all, I exist inherently, and this I is more precious than everyone else. So I'm a little bit more important. This is how I feel. I'm a little bit more important than everyone else. Therefore, it's more important for me to be perfect. You're not perfect? That's okay. I may even be happy or not. Right? If I'm in competition with you, I'm okay about your failure. My failure? No. I cannot fail. So it's like a very strong, it comes out of this misperception, and then the 21st century kind of suggests we can be perfect. Drive this car and you're the perfect man. Use this washing powder, you'll be the perfect housewife. You know, we hear it over and over, and slowly we get a sense, I can be like that. So out of an exaggerated sense of self, I want to be better. I want to be, and I hate myself if I'm not. If I make a mistake, I'm so bad. I'm so bad. I'm such a bad person. That's guilt, right? Whereas someone who is on the path, a bodhisattva for instance, or someone before even they enter that path, but they're already going in that direction, they're looking at their mind, okay, I'm a human being, I have faults like everyone else does. And I can learn from my faults. So I make a mistake, okay, you know, it's like fall down, I pick myself up and try again, right? And so I look at my past, I learn from my mistakes, I generate regret, and I try harder. And then I make a mistake again, and I try harder, and that's it. There's no room, it doesn't make sense to hate myself, right? And it doesn't make sense to feel guilty. So recognizing, in the context of recognizing reality, since I don't exist inherently and nothing else does, in a conventional sense, I just learn from my past mistakes, learn from others' mistakes, and keep growing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it just requires a lot of work with yourself.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
That is so important. I didn't really mention it.
You can pay somebody to do it for you.
That's exactly, it takes so, everything I explained sounds very easy, but it's the hardest thing to do. It's really